in this lesson, I'd like to show you how to set up your form so that when you make a choice from a combo box, it will display only the related information in a subform down here. In this case, we'd like to set it up so that when I choose a supplier, I'd like to display only the supplier, only the products that that supplier supplies down below on the bottom of the form. Move to Design View. Come out under my Design Controls. I'll click the drop down More button and I will choose my subform tool. I'll click and drag and it fires up the wizard. And I'm looking to stuff this with information from the products table. So I'll take the first choice, click on Next. I'm going to choose my product name and my supplier ID. And this just happens to come from my products table, which was here by default. I'll click on Next. It's asking for a name. I'm going to call this subform sample, and I'll click on Finish. And I will just go ahead and stretch things out, give myself a little more. Now if I move to Form View, I can see all 77 of my products living out here, and there is no connection between this combo box and this subform. If I make a choice here, it has no effect on here at all. But let's change that. I'm going to come back to Design View. The first thing I want to do is come out and take a look at the property sheet. Now the property sheet we're currently seeing is for the subform subreport object itself. I want to actually click inside of that on this little tool right here, and that will actually select not the subform control but the form inside of the control. That is the subsample form that was created here. So we click on that first and I come out and I can see that the record source appears to be one of these select queries. If I click on the three dotted button out to the right, I can see there's the product name that I chose a moment ago and there's the supplier ID. Well, what I want to do is I want to set this up so that it will filter out all the records except for what's inside of this box here. So I'm going to come out and I'm going to click inside of here and I'm going to go ahead and type in forms, the forms collection. It shows me my two forms here. I'm going to go ahead and choose my subsample, my form sample rather, and then from here when I click an exclamation point, it's going to show me everything on the forms sample, which I have up here at the top. It's on the form sample, and I can see that I've got this thing called CBO supplier 1. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So whatever's inside of CBO supplier 1, that's going to get plugged in here, and it will filter out all the records except for what's in here. And what is in there is going to be the supplier ID. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'll save my changes. And now when I move back out here into my form view, and I make a choice here, like Myomi's, and I press my refresh key, which is going to be F5, it refreshes, and I see the products for that particular supplier. Let's do this one more. I'll choose Tokyo Traders, I'll press F5, and I see just Tokyo Traders. Now keep in mind that these three objects are completely independent of each other. This form is a complete blank form. It has no connection to any table or any data source at all. It's just a landing spot for the controls on the form. This form is only connected to the suppliers table, and this form is only connected to the products table. So it's only that little bit of SQL that I wrote a moment ago that connects these two together. I'd like to take this one more step and clean things up and have this set up so that whenever I make a change here, it will automatically come back out and stuff the proper products inside of here without having to do the manual refresh myself, as I did a moment ago by coming out and making a choice here and then choosing refresh all or pressing the F5 key. Back in Design View, I really don't need to see the supplier ID out here. Things will work just fine without it. So I'm going to click on it and get rid of this guy. And I'm going to come back out and make a change here as well. I'm going to come up to my unbound combo, which contains my information from my suppliers, and I'm going to go to the Event tab and I'm going to say after update, that is after I make a change here and it updates this guy, I'm going to come out and write a little bit of code here. I'm going to click OK, and the code that I'm going to write out here, it's all set up for me here. I'm going to come out and I'm going to say forms exclamation point and then the name of the form, which is form sample dot refresh, so that every time I update the combo box, it's going to run this little guy and it's going to refresh the form itself. I'll go ahead and close this. I'll make a save to my changes, and then I will come back out and look at my form view. And when I make a choice here, it should automatically stuff the correct products down below.